The sun had barely risen over the jagged peaks of Elira. 7, casting long shadows across the colony that had been built with sweat and hope. The wind here was harsh, carrying fine gray dust that scratched at the metal walls of the habitats. Commander Alaric walked slowly along the main corridor, listening to the faint hum of the life support systems. It had been 3 weeks since the storm began, and each day brought new problems. Water systems had started failing, and the crops in the biodomes were struggling. Tessa, the colony's lead scientist, had warned that if the storms continued, the colony might not last much longer. Alaric paused in front of the communication room. The screens flickered with static, and the loudspeakers carried only broken messages from distant satellites. The SOS signal they had sent months ago had not yet received a reply. Every colonist had been waiting for help, hoping for some sign that someone, anyone, had heard their plea. Alaric pressed his hand against the cool metal door and took a deep breath. He knew that if aid did not arrive soon, they would have to make desperate choices to survive. Inside the communication room, Tessa was already at the main console. Her eyes were tired from staring at the blinking lights and unreadable data streams, but she had not stopped working. "Commander," she said without looking up, "something is coming."
Alaric turned sharply and saw her finger pointing to the radar display.
At first, he thought it was another storm signature, but then the image on the screen resolved into shapes. Ships, enormous, and unlike anything humanity had seen before. They were moving steadily toward Elira, 7, cutting through the storms with smooth precision. The room fell silent. The colony's communications officer, a young man named Rin, swallowed nervously. It's not any human fleet," he whispered. "They are too big, too fast." Alaric felt a chill run down his spine. His mind raced. Who could it be? Nobody had the technology to move ships like that through these storms without being detected. The fleet was approaching, and they were coming fast. Outside the colony, the sky began to darken unnaturally. Thick clouds of dust and ash swirled, as if the planet itself sensed the arrival. Colonists gathered on the observation decks, pointing and murmuring. Fear and awe mixed in the air. Alaric joined them, his eyes scanning the horizon. The ships appeared almost like mountains suspended in the sky, sleek and silver, reflecting the weak sunlight. There was no sound, only a quiet presence that seemed to fill the entire landscape. Back in the communication room, Tessa had activated the emergency translator system. She hoped that if these beings were intelligent, they could communicate with the colony. The translator hummed and blinked, working to identify patterns in the unknown signals coming from the fleet. The first words that appeared on the screen made everyone freeze. "We have received your signal. We are coming. Not to save, but to meet." "Not to save?" he repeated aloud, trying to understand. "What does that mean?" Tessa shook her head.
"I don't know, but they are not ignoring us."
"They are coming. We should prepare for contact." The colonists scrambled to ready the landing platforms and observation zones. There was no question of weapons or defenses. They had none that could match such a fleet, but they needed to make a good impression. Alaric moved among the colonists, calming fears, explaining what little they could do. Children peered from behind their parents, eyes wide at the sight of enormous ships hovering above the storms. The adults felt a mixture of pride and helplessness. Humanity had never encountered beings like this before. Hours passed, and the fleet drew closer. Then, a low hum began to vibrate through the ground, a sound that was not thunder or wind. It was the fleet's presence, a gentle but powerful energy that seemed to resonate with the planet itself. Some colonists held their ears, startled by the sensation. Alaric and Tessa stood together on the observation deck, watching as the first ship lowered itself into the atmosphere. It did not land, but hovered with perfect stability, defying the planet's harsh winds. A light beamed down from the ship, a calm, soft glow that illuminated the rocky terrain. Tessa activated the translator again, hoping for clearer communication. Words appeared on the screen, simple but precise. We are the Deathworlders. We observe your struggle. We are curious about your species. Curiosity. Not aid, not rescue. A curiosity. Alaric's heart thumped. These beings had the power to help, perhaps even save them. Yet they had chosen another path. They were not here to give humanity answers. They wanted to see what humans could do. The realization filled him with both fear and excitement. Rhine, ever anxious, spoke up.
Commander? They could be dangerous.
We don't know anything about them. Should we prepare for defense?
Alaric shook his head.
No, he said firmly. They haven't attacked.
They haven't harmed us. If we meet them with fear, we will never understand why they are here.
This is our chance to show what humans can do. As the day turned to evening, the first communications link was established.
The Deathworlder's voice, calm and smooth, filled the room. We have studied many species. Few endure what you endure on your world. We wish to observe, to learn, and perhaps to teach. If you accept, we will stay long enough to understand your society and your strengths.
Bessa stepped forward.
How do we show you our strengths? She asked. What do you want from us? The response came after a pause, thoughtful and deliberate. We do not require anything from you. We wish to see your ingenuity, your adaptability, your cooperation. These qualities reveal the essence of your species. The word spread through the colony like wildfire. The fear that had held them in place for weeks began to shift into determination. Humanity had survived storms, resource shortages, and isolation. Now, they had a chance to prove themselves to a species that had mastered survival in the harshest conditions in the galaxy. Night fell on Elira. 7, but the fleet remained in orbit, glowing softly against the darkened sky. The colony's lights flickered in response, small and fragile compared to the massive ships above, yet filled with the energy of life that refused to be extinguished. Alaric looked at the horizon, imagining the tasks ahead. These Deathworlders had come not to save, but to challenge, to observe, and perhaps to understand. Humanity had faced death before, but now they were facing something far greater, a test of spirit, creativity, and courage. Tessa returned to her lab, eyes bright with ideas. Commander, she said, we may not need them to help us directly. This could be a turning point. We can learn from them, and maybe they will learn from us. We might not be the weakest species after all. Alaric nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders.
The fleet above was immense, intimidating, and completely alien. But for the first time in weeks, he felt a spark of hope.
Humanity would rise to meet this challenge, not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they were clever, adaptable, and resilient. And perhaps, in showing these qualities, they would earn a place among the stars, alongside these mysterious visitors. The hum of the fleet continued through the night, a reminder that humanity's time of trial had only just begun. Every colonist slept with one eye open, dreaming of the possibilities and the questions that lay ahead. Tomorrow, they would begin the first steps of a journey that could change their world forever. And for now, Elira. 7 was alive with anticipation, hope, and the quiet determination of a species that had always survived against the odds. The sun rose again over Elira. 7, but the light struggled to break through the thick storm clouds. The fleet of Deathworlders still hovered above the colony, their massive ships reflecting the pale glow of the planet's weak sunlight. Commander Alaric and Tessa stood on the observation deck, their eyes scanning the enormous vessels. The colony had spent the night in quiet anticipation, filled with both excitement and unease. No one had slept well, but hope had replaced some of the fear that had once weighed heavily on their hearts. Rhine, the young communications officer, approached them nervously. "Commander, they want to speak directly," he said, gesturing toward the console. Alaric nodded, his hand resting briefly on Rin's shoulder.
Set it up. Let's hear what they have to say. A soft hum filled the room as the translator activated.
A calm, melodic voice echoed through the speakers. We have observed your preparations. We see the strength of your species and how you organize and respond to crisis. We wish to understand more.
We invite representatives to meet us.
Meet them? Here?
Outside?
She asked. Yes, the translator replied. We will remain above your colony. No harm will come to you.
We seek only understanding. Alaric turned to the group of colonists who had gathered in the communication room.
We will do this carefully. Remember, they have advanced technology and intelligence far beyond ours. But we go as observers and learners. We do not act recklessly. The colonists nodded, their faces a mixture of determination and awe. Alaric, Tessa, and a small team were led to one of the landing platforms. The surface of Elira, 7 rumbled faintly beneath their feet as the largest ship descended slightly, hovering just above the platform. A beam of soft light extended from the ship, creating a shimmering path that seemed to invite them forward. The colonists stepped onto the light carefully, and a feeling of calm filled the air. There was no fear, no sense of danger, only curiosity and anticipation. Inside the ship, the walls shimmered with a soft, organic light. It was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. There were no sharp edges, no signs of weaponry, only smooth surfaces and a quiet, soothing glow. The Deathworlders appeared before them, tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shift colors depending on the angle of light. Their eyes were large and intelligent, full of calm curiosity. You have endured much, one of them said in a voice that the translator made comprehensible. Your signal showed desperation, yet also resilience. We wish to learn about you, not to dominate or destroy. We do not bring aid, but we bring knowledge and observation. Alaric stepped forward.
Why are you here? Why not simply send help?
The alien tilted its head slightly, a gesture that seemed almost human in its thoughtfulness. To help without understanding is to give only temporary relief. To know your species is to see your potential. We offer guidance and partnership, but first, we wish to witness your ingenuity, adaptability, and cooperation. So, you want to test us? To see what humans are capable of? Not to test, but to observe, the Deathworlder corrected gently. We seek understanding. True strength is shown in problem-solving, not in force. You survive on a planet that challenges you daily. We wish to see how you meet challenges, alone and together.
Back on the colony. Word of the meeting spread quickly.
The colonists were both nervous and eager. They began organizing themselves for the first series of challenges suggested by the Deathworlders. These challenges were not violent or dangerous. They involved problem-solving, creativity, and teamwork. The first task was to create a shelter that could withstand the harshest storm conditions, using only the resources available in the colony. Groups of colonists worked tirelessly, using metal scraps, reinforced fabric, and the colony's limited energy reserves. Alaric observed, giving guidance but allowing the humans to lead themselves. Tessa coordinated scientific calculations, measuring wind speeds, energy consumption, and material strength. The Deathworlders watched quietly, their presence a calm and steady reminder of the high stakes. Days passed. The storm outside Elira. 7 did not relent, but inside the colony, human determination grew stronger. Children helped carry materials, engineers suggested improvements, and scientists, like Tessa, tested every solution carefully. The humans found ways to turn the harsh wind into energy, creating turbines that doubled the colony's power. They learned to collect rainwater from the storms more efficiently, and even designed new protective barriers that could flex and bend with the wind, rather than resist it. The Deathworlders observed silently, occasionally communicating small suggestions, but never directly intervening. They seemed fascinated by the humans' persistence and creativity. Alaric noticed that the aliens valued cooperation above all else. When humans shared ideas freely, improved each other's designs, and solved problems together, the Deathworlders' eyes seemed to light with approval. Tessa discovered a hidden reservoir beneath the colony, an old water source that had been overlooked. With careful calculations, the team devised a method to redirect water safely, improving the colony's supply without harming the ecosystem. The Deathworlders noted the solution. Their attention focused on the humans' ability to understand and adapt rather than simply survive. As the days turned into weeks, the humans faced the next set of challenges. They were asked to design a communication network that could function despite storms, a system for sustainable food growth, and strategies for energy conservation that could last indefinitely. Each task pushed them to think creatively, to work together, and to embrace the strengths of their species. Alaric realized that these challenges were not only tests for the humans, they were lessons for the colonists. The Deathworlders were showing humanity how to see their own potential, how to understand their strengths and weaknesses. Every idea, every innovation was noticed and recorded by the aliens. The humans were not being judged for failure, but celebrated for effort, ingenuity, and collaboration. The children of the colony began to join in, helping with small tasks, learning from the adults, and developing new ways to solve problems. Even the elders contributed wisdom, suggesting improvements based on experience and observation. The colony became alive with energy, hope, and determination. For the first time in weeks, the storms outside seemed less frightening, as the humans inside had discovered a power of their own, the power of creativity, cooperation, and resilience.
One evening, as the storms raged fiercely across Illyria,
7. The Deathworlders sent a message. We are pleased with your efforts. You have shown resourcefulness and cooperation. This is only the beginning. There are greater challenges ahead, and more understanding to be gained. We will continue to observe, and you will continue to grow. Tessa smiled at Alaric.
They didn't come to save us, she said quietly. But they are teaching us.
They're giving us a chance to become something greater. Alaric nodded. Yes. And we will take it. We have survived this long. And now we have a purpose. We can prove that humanity is capable of more than we ever imagined. The fleet above remained in place, a quiet presence against the stormy sky. Its ships shimmered, reflecting the lights of the colony, and the humans felt both small and extraordinary at the same time. They were being watched, studied, and encouraged. It was a reminder that their struggles were not unnoticed, that their efforts mattered, and that the galaxy held possibilities far beyond what they had known. At night, as the colonists rested, Tessa returned to her lab, reviewing data from the day's challenges. She marveled at the humans' ability to adapt, to learn, and to find solutions even under pressure. We are stronger than we knew, she said softly to herself. And the Deathworlders have seen it too. Alaric stood on the observation deck, looking up at the fleet. He felt a mix of awe and determination. Humanity had survived storms, shortages, and isolation. Now they faced a new kind of challenge, one that tested their mind, spirit, and unity. And for the first time, they had not just a chance to survive, but to grow, to learn, and to become part of something much larger. The first contact with the Deathworlders had ended, but it was only the beginning. The humans of Illyria 7 would face more challenges, but they were ready. They had learned that strength was not in force, but in thought, creativity, and cooperation. And as they slept beneath the stormy skies, the quiet hum of the fleet reminded them that the universe was watching, and that they had the power to meet it, together.
the following morning, Illyria
7 seemed to hum with energy. The storm still raged across the mountains and valleys, but inside the colony, a sense of purpose had taken hold. Humans moved quickly and efficiently, each person eager to contribute to the challenges set by the Deathworlders. Commander Alaric walked through the corridors, observing the activity. Engineers discussed new ways to strengthen shelters, scientists analyzed storm patterns, and even children had been assigned small, important tasks. Every effort seemed to matter, every idea considered. Tessa had gathered her team in the lab to discuss the next challenge from the Deathworlders. The message had arrived early that morning, transmitted in the calm, melodic voice that the translator interpreted for them. We wish to see how your species adapts to rapidly changing conditions. You will face a series of unpredictable scenarios. Your response will show ingenuity, flexibility, and cooperation.
You are free to organize as you see fit. This is a test of everything we have learned so far. We will not be given instructions.
We must create solutions from what we have. Listen to each other, trust your instincts, and remember that collaboration is our greatest strength. The first scenario was immediately apparent. The storms had shifted direction overnight, and sensors detected a sudden drop in temperature in the southern region of the colony. The biodomes were at risk of freezing, threatening the food supply. Alaric divided teams and assigned tasks. Some were sent to reinforce the domes, others to maintain energy production, and a few to monitor the environmental sensors. Tessa coordinated the work, her mind racing as she calculated energy needs, insulation efficiency, and wind patterns. The humans worked with remarkable speed. Using emergency blankets and flexible insulation panels, they stabilized the domes temporarily. They rerouted excess power from the turbines they had built with the previous challenges, ensuring the domes remained at safe temperatures. Even in the freezing winds, the colonists collaborated seamlessly, improvising solutions and sharing ideas. Children ran messages between teams, elders offered guidance, and engineers fine-tuned every adjustment. The Deathworlders observed silently, their large eyes focused on the humans' actions, taking note of every decision, every adaptation. When the storm subsided slightly, the Deathworlders communicated again. You have shown resourcefulness and cooperation. Observe carefully, as your next scenario will be more complex. The planet itself will challenge you. You must innovate without direct guidance. The second challenge arrived within hours. A previously unknown geological fissure opened near one of the main water reservoirs. The fissure was small but deep, and it threatened to drain a portion of the colony's most vital water supply. Alaric, Tessa, and the other leaders gathered at the site to assess the situation. "We cannot allow this water to be lost," Alaric said, surveying the chasm. "We need a solution that uses minimal resources and maximum efficiency." Tessa examined the ground, noticing natural rock formations that could be used as a barrier. "If we channel the water using these natural formations, we can prevent loss and even direct some into storage tanks," she suggested. Teams worked quickly, moving rocks, setting up temporary channels, and using flexible pipes to redirect water flow. Every member contributed ideas, adjusting plans as they observed the water's behavior. The Deathworlders hovered above, sending a soft hum that seemed almost like encouragement. The humans marveled at the simplicity of the solution and the speed with which they could implement it. Within hours, the water was secured, flowing safely into the colony's tanks, and the reservoir remained intact. That evening, the humans gathered to review their accomplishments. Alaric spoke to the group, his voice filled with pride. "Look at what we have achieved today. We faced sudden cold, a changing storm, and a threatening fissure. And yet, we adapted, cooperated, and found solutions. This is exactly what the Deathworlders wanted to see. Our strength lies in our mind and our unity." Tessa smiled, her eyes reflecting both exhaustion and excitement. "They are teaching us to see our potential. Each challenge makes us stronger and more capable. We are learning not just to survive, but to thrive under conditions that seem impossible." The next day brought an entirely new challenge. The Deathworlders sent a message. "You will now address a problem that requires understanding and prediction. Your environment changes constantly. You must find patterns and develop a system that can respond before the next disruption occurs." This task required observation, analysis, and planning. Tessa set up monitoring stations throughout the colony, tracking storm intensity, wind direction, and atmospheric pressure. Alaric organized teams to map the terrain, noting areas prone to flooding, avalanches, or strong winds. Colonists worked in shifts, sharing observations, running simulations, and brainstorming solutions. They developed a predictive model that allowed the colony to anticipate changes in weather patterns and adjust resources accordingly. As the humans worked, the Deathworlders appeared briefly inside the lab, observing the systems with quiet curiosity. Their gestures suggested approval, and Tessa felt a deep sense of connection between species. The humans were not alone, but they were also not being given direct answers. Every success came from their own ingenuity. The predictive model was tested the following day. A sudden wind shift threatened the biodomes again, but the humans were ready. Automated shutters closed, energy was redirected to heating systems, and support teams reinforced structural panels. For the first time, the colony responded to a storm with precision, as if they had anticipated it all along. The Deathworlders sent a soft hum of acknowledgement, their approval unspoken but unmistakable.
Alaric addressed the colonist after the successful response. "This is what I hoped for."
We are learning from every challenge. Our minds, our cooperation, and our determination are our greatest assets. Humanity is proving that we are not only survivors, but innovators. And the Deathworlders are here to witness it. Even the youngest colonists began contributing ideas. They suggested methods for storing energy during calm periods, ways to filter dust from water supplies, and creative ways to reinforce shelters using local materials. Alaric and Tessa encouraged their input, recognizing that innovation often came from fresh perspectives. The colony thrived not through force, but through thought, teamwork, and shared responsibility. As the sun set, casting a warm glow through the storm clouds, the humans gathered on the observation deck to reflect. The fleet above remained still, a silent presence that reminded them that their efforts were being observed.
Alaric turned to Tessa. "They didn't come to save us," he said quietly, "but they are giving us a gift."
They are showing us what we can become if we trust ourselves and each other. Tessa nodded. Each challenge makes us stronger. Each problem we solve brings us closer to understanding our potential. The Deathworlders see it, and so do we.
That night, the colony rested with a renewed sense of purpose. The humans of Elira.
7 had faced sudden storms, threatening fissures, and unpredictable conditions, and they had not only survived, but thrived. They had demonstrated ingenuity, adaptability, and cooperation, the very qualities the Deathworlders sought to observe. Alaric stood on the observation deck, looking up at the shimmering fleet. A sense of pride and determination filled him. Humanity had proven that they could meet challenges not with brute force, but with intelligence, creativity, and unity. The storms outside seemed less frightening now, mere tests of skill and resilience, rather than threats to their survival. The Deathworlders sent one final message for the night. You have shown remarkable adaptation and foresight. Continue to develop these qualities. Greater challenges will come, and we will continue to observe.
You are capable of more than you know. Tessa smiled, reviewing the day's data and solutions.
They are right, she whispered. We are capable of more than we knew.
And the best part is, we are learning to see it for ourselves.
Alaric felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders once again.
The humans had proven themselves, but the journey was far from over. The Deathworlders' presence was a reminder that the universe was vast and full of unknowns. Yet for the first time, Elira 7 felt like a place of opportunity, a place where humanity's ingenuity and cooperation could shine. The colony slept under the hum of the fleet, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and new ways to demonstrate the strength of the human spirit.
Elira.
7 was no longer just a struggling colony. It was a proving ground, a place where humans could show that they were clever, resilient, and worthy of standing among the stars. And as the first light of dawn broke through the storm clouds, the humans of Elira 7 awoke with hope, ready to meet whatever came next with intelligence, courage, and unity. The Deathworlders watched silently from above, witnesses to the remarkable qualities of a species that refused to be defined by danger, storms, or uncertainty. Humanity was learning to thrive, and the galaxy had begun to take notice. The next morning on Elira 7, the sky was heavy with clouds, but the colony itself seemed lighter, as if the humans had grown taller in spirit overnight. Commander Alaric walked along the observation deck, watching colonists move quickly to their tasks. There was a new sense of confidence in their movements, a quiet pride in every action. The challenges set by the Deathworlders had taught them more than just survival. They had learned to anticipate, innovate, and cooperate on a scale they had never imagined. Tessa joined him, carrying a tablet filled with data from the previous days. "The predictive systems are performing beyond expectations," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. "The storm patterns, the resource distribution, even the energy management, all of it is working. We've reached a point where we can manage anything the planet throws at us, and the team has improved so much in a very short time." Alaric nodded, looking up at the hovering fleet above. The Deathworlders had remained in place for weeks, observing silently, sending only occasional guidance or encouragement. Today, however, a new message appeared on the translator screen, clear and direct. "You have demonstrated remarkable ingenuity, adaptability, and cooperation. We are ready to meet with all leaders to discuss the next stage." The colony prepared carefully. Colonists polished the platforms, arranged supplies for demonstration, and rehearsed presentations to explain their innovations. Everyone felt the weight of the moment. They had spent weeks proving themselves, and now they would see the Deathworlders' final judgment. Alaric selected a group of representatives, including Tessa, engineers, and a few others who had contributed the most to the colony's success. As they stepped onto the light beam that led to the largest ship, a sense of anticipation filled them. The floor beneath seemed to hum gently, a soft vibration that calmed nerves and focused attention. Inside the ship, the walls glimmered with the familiar organic light, and the Deathworlders awaited them. The aliens' presence was calm, their eyes filled with intelligence and curiosity, observing each human with careful attention. "You have completed the challenges with skill and determination," one of the Deathworlders began. "You adapted to environmental changes, solved critical problems, and demonstrated cooperation at all levels of your society. These qualities are rare and valuable. We did our best, and we worked together. Every challenge taught us something new, and we are stronger for it. We hope we have shown that humanity is capable of more than survival." The alien nodded slightly. "You have done more than survive. You have thrived under circumstances that would test even the most advanced species. This shows a capacity for growth, creativity, and learning. You are worthy of collaboration." Alaric felt a wave of pride and relief. "Collaboration?" he asked. "Huh? You mean partnership?" "Yes," the Deathworlder replied. "We did not come to save you. Aid alone would not reveal your potential. Instead, we offer knowledge, guidance, and partnership. Together, our species can share discoveries, technologies, and wisdom. Your achievements show that you can contribute meaningfully." The humans were amazed. They had feared these beings at first, uncertain of their intentions, but now they realized that the Deathworlders' presence was an opportunity. Tessa's eyes sparkled. "So we are being invited to join you? To learn together and explore?" "Exactly," the Deathworlder said. "We wish to explore and understand the galaxy with you as equals. Your ingenuity, cooperation, and persistence are qualities we value. Together, much can be achieved." Back on Elira 7, The humans worked together to finalize systems that could support larger collaboration. They upgraded communication networks, reinforced shelters, and prepared the colony for long-term sustainability. Even the youngest colonists contributed ideas, suggesting new ways to store energy, filter water, and manage crops. Every person had learned that their contributions mattered, and that working together could achieve more than any individual effort. Alaric observed the colony's transformation with awe. They were no longer just survivors. They were innovators, ready to meet challenges with intelligence and cooperation. The Deathworlders' guidance had not been direct, but the humans had internalized the lessons. They had learned to trust each other, to think critically, and to act decisively under pressure. A final ceremony was held on the observation deck. The fleet hovered above, reflecting the dim sunlight through the storm clouds. The Deathworlders' presence was quiet but commanding, their forms shimmering in the soft light. Alaric addressed the colony. We have faced storms, unknown fissures, and unpredictable conditions. Each challenge made us stronger, smarter, and more united. Today, we are no longer simply a struggling colony. We are capable, resilient, and ready to step into a wider universe.
Tessa added, "The Deathworlders did not give us direct solutions. They showed us the importance of thought, cooperation, and adaptability."
We learned to rely on each other and our own ingenuity. This is our greatest achievement.
The Deathworlders spoke again.
Humanity has shown qualities that are rare among species. Creativity, cooperation, and resilience are your strengths. We offer partnership to explore, learn, and innovate together. If you accept, our fleets will assist in expanding your knowledge and capabilities, but only through collaboration. You will continue to lead, to innovate, and to grow. The humans nodded in agreement, their excitement and determination shining through. Elira. 7 had survived storms, resource shortages, and isolation, and now it was ready to expand beyond its own world. The colonists felt pride, hope, and a deep sense of purpose. They were not being saved. They were being invited to join a greater stage, one where their skills and creativity could flourish. In the weeks that followed, the Deathworlders helped integrate new technologies into the colony. Energy systems became more efficient. Biodomes were reinforced with advanced materials, and predictive weather models improved. Humans shared their ideas as well, showing how creativity and adaptability could solve problems even without the most advanced tools. The interaction was mutual learning, each species gaining insight from the other. Children and elders alike participated, building a culture of collaboration and curiosity. The colony became a hub of innovation, with humans and Deathworlders working side by side. Every day brought new discoveries, improvements, and opportunities to learn. Halira. 7 was no longer just a place to survive. It was a place to thrive and explore, a model of human ingenuity in partnership with a powerful and wise alien species. Alaric stood on the observation deck one evening, looking at the fleet that had once caused fear, but now inspired hope. The colony below was alive with activity, every light a symbol of growth and achievement. He realized that the greatest challenge had not been the storms, the fissures, or the unpredictability of the planet. It had been discovering the strength of humanity itself. Tessa joined him, smiling. We've come a long way. The Deathworlders could have done everything for us, but they didn't. They allowed us to discover our own potential. That's the real gift.
Yes, they didn't just test us, they taught us.
And now we can continue to learn, to grow, and to explore, not just as survivors, but as capable, creative humans. The Deathworlders remained in orbit, their presence a gentle reminder of the new path humanity had chosen. They had not arrived to save the humans of Elira. 7. They had arrived to witness, observe, and guide. And in doing so, they had shown humanity that their true strength lay in thought, cooperation, and ingenuity. The first light of dawn broke through the storm clouds, casting a warm glow over the colony. Humans emerged from their habitats, ready to continue building, innovating, and exploring. The fleet above shimmered in response, as if acknowledging the beginning of a new partnership.
Elira!
7 was alive with possibilities, a place where the human spirit could shine. As the humans moved forward, they understood that their future was no longer limited to survival. They were inventors, thinkers, and collaborators. They were a species capable of remarkable growth and achievement, and with the Deathworlders as allies and mentors, the galaxy no longer seemed distant or intimidating. It seemed full of potential, waiting to be discovered. Commander Alaric looked over the colony one last time before turning toward the observation deck railing. We faced storms, uncertainty, and fear, but we discovered our potential. And now we step forward, not as a struggling colony, but as humans ready to meet the universe on our own terms. And together, we can achieve more than we ever imagined. The fleet above glimmered silently, a promise of collaboration, knowledge, and exploration. Elira? 7 was no longer just a home. It was the beginning of humanity's journey into the stars. And in that moment, every human present understood that they had not been rescued. They had been given something far greater, the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to stand as equals in a universe full of wonder. The wind howled across the rocky plains of Elira. 7. The storms continuing as always. Yet inside the colony, humans moved with confidence, purpose, and hope. They had faced their trials, learned their lessons, and proved that ingenuity, cooperation, and spirit were their greatest tools. The Deathworlders had come to observe, but humanity had shown that it was ready for the wider universe. And so, under the light of dawn, Elira 7 began a new chapter, one of discovery, partnership, and the limitless potential of the human spirit.